From the studio that brought us
Unlimited Blade Works,
based on a manga recommended by this guy.
どうも皆さん、こんにちは。ハンターハンターを書いている富樫義弘です。
And with an opening sang by none other than... Okay, I don't know about you guys, but they already had me at Unlimited Blade Works. Okay, so I watched the first episode of Demon Slayer, and I have to say that it was a very solid start. Aside from the pleasant surprise that Ufotable was adapting something outside of the Fate franchise, I was hyped to find out that they chose to adapt a weekly Shonen Jump manga. I can only describe the experience as getting to watch a Shonen Jump manga dine in first class. It's like they're getting the VIP treatment, having hors d'oeuvres, the finest wine. So as expected, the animation in this first episode is top-notch and extremely fluid. The soundtrack is probably even better because it fits every scene so well and really captures the right emotions, giving the episode a sense of atmosphere while still making the story feel grand and epic. But what's most interesting, and what I actually didn't expect, was the art style they used for the characters. It actually feels very different from what we're used to seeing nowadays. They have this rough and bold line work accompanied by these really appealing color schemes, which serves to give the characters a sort of expressiveness and intensity. This is further accentuated by the fact that they don't match with the visual style used for the backgrounds. But strangely enough, this contrast never seems jarring. Instead, it just makes the characters pop more and really lets you focus in on their actions. So, great animation, check. Great music, check. Unique character designs, check. This production pretty much sounds perfect, except they use CG in the episode. Not once, not twice. It was almost like every long shot was CG, with some transitions being somewhat seamless, while others felt very obvious. Thankfully, it never really detracts from the episode, but let's be honest with what we're really thinking here. They better not make it part of the action scenes later. I swear to God, don't mess with my fucking action scene! Now let's get to the most important part, the story, which might be the part that you find the most lacking. Now that's not to say it's not good, it's just not anything you haven't seen before. Like if the production was first class, this is more like economy. We're still on the plane, we're still flying, we haven't crashed and burned, but you're just not gonna be wowed. The entire first episode is just devoted to setting up what feels like a typical revenge story, with demons. Spoiler. I can't even tell you what it's about because it's so straightforward that even reading the synopsis of the show would spoil you. So if you still haven't watched it and don't want to get spoiled, you can skip ahead to this timestamp. Here's my main issue with the premiere. From early on in the episode, when Tanjiro is going down the snowy mountain, we get to hear his thoughts, and his last thought happens to be...
そして幸せが壊れる時にはいつも血の匂いがする。
Why is he thinking about this as he's going down the hill? Everything seems to be perfectly fine, and he suddenly shifts to this ominous line for no reason. Even the music becomes eerie, and it's definitely not a future version of himself narrating this, it's him in the present. So with that on-the-nose foreshadowing, get it? You're already expecting something horrible to happen to his family while he's gone, and now you're just waiting for the ball to drop. I can understand that the purpose of this line is to really make you question why he would know the smell of blood or even bring it up, playing up the fact that he has a very acute sense of smell. That's a nice touch that I can appreciate, but then with this in mind, it makes everything else in the episode feel like just being there to set up Tanjiro's character, almost as if it's all just mechanical and going through the motions. Think about it. The very next scene is him visiting the town. The only purpose of the scene is to let you know aspects about Tanjiro. He's kind, he helps everyone, he's a hard worker, he's reliable, he can even fix doors, meaning that he's a skillful problem solver. He can figure out who broke the plate just by sniffing it, meaning that he has a superhuman sense of smell. So after this, he's on his way back to his house, and now is when you're expecting him to find his family dead. But wait, now he's taken hostage by an old man that only exists for the purpose of keeping Tanjiro safe and away from his family. How convenient. There is no other purpose to this scene besides prolonging what you already know is going to happen. If anything, it makes it extremely obvious now that his family's gonna get Game of Thrones. The only thing that we really got from this scene is that Tanjiro doesn't believe that the demons are real. But if Tanjiro would have gone to his house and witnessed the murder of his family, he would have seen the demons with his own eyes without a need for all this explanation. It would have also been more horrifying because he would have gotten a chance to see his family one last time as they took their last breaths. It's as if the author couldn't think of another way to keep Tanjiro alive. The other problem is that his family didn't really have any characterization or build up to their deaths. While Tanjiro was talking with the old man, it could have cut to scenes of the demons approaching his mother and his siblings to give more of a sense of impending doom and tragedy. But then when he finally sees his family again, it's more like, wow, that sucks for him, instead of, no, Nezuko, no! Because you weren't given enough time with them to be invested. The lack of investment really lessens the impact. So it ends up making it feel like something that just needed to happen. Another issue I had was that there was a lot of narration of the characters' feelings going on, particularly in the scenes where Tanjiro was trying to deduce what his sister had become, and when we get to hear the Demon Slayer Gyu's thoughts. For the first scene, the narration could have been cut down if we were shown Tanjiro noticing an odd smell at his house before he ran off carrying his sister. It spends too much time telling us instead of allowing us to put the pieces together. As for Gyu, it would have been more interesting if they kept his thoughts hidden and just had him react the way he did. That way, it could have kept the audience wondering what prompted his harsh reaction to Tanjiro's plea to spare his sister. However, considering we might not see Gyu again for a while, I can understand how this was probably the quickest way to let us know that he's a good guy. It just comes off feeling a bit rushed. However, if you really enjoyed this premiere, then these might come across as just nitpicks, and I also acknowledge that this is the first episode of a shonen manga adaptation. It was just trying to get us to the main meat of the story. So with that said, the episode plays out very predictably, making the pacing of the first half feel very slow and a little clunky, but once the pieces fall into place, the second half is where it really picks up with stunning action sequences, high stakes drama, and even a bit of tactical combat from the main character, which I hope we get to see more of as the series progresses. The main character himself was a bit different than the usual shonen lead due to his kind-hearted nature, which made him seem more endearing than annoying. However, what really sells this first episode is the potential of where it's going to go from here. The dynamic between Tanjiro and his little sister Nezuko seems to be very promising, and based on the opening visuals, it seems like this will be a very balanced story with elements of lighthearted comedy, action, and darkness. Now that it's gotten past all the setup, episode 2 will be the real test of whether this anime can keep the audience drawn into its story. So, will I keep watching? Yes! And you definitely should too. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm trying something a little new and there's more on the way, so if you could show your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to chat with me outside of YouTube, you're more than welcome to. Links to my Twitter and Discord are in the description below. And that's all I have for now, so besides that, I'm OniMaru, and I'll see you guys in the next video.